Gathering of who's who among the Igbos on a quiet evening here in Lagos. The 23 Ikenga Awards and Christmas party, as it turned out, was a timely occasion for them to felicitate with one another, catch up on lost time, and address some of the most fundamental questions surrounding their lives and livelihoods in the context of today's corporate Nigeria. Cometh the man, cometh the moment. Senator Enyinaya Baribe is minority leader of the Nigerian Senate, and on this Igbo question has never pulled his punches.
Let Nigeria not think that by suppressing the Igbo, that they are going forward. Foul. So long as Nigeria suppresses the Igbo, Nigeria will go nowhere. Because ndị Igbo na-atụ iluru na-asị, onye ji mmadụ n'ala, ji onwe ya n'ala. Ụlọ mmanụ.
Speakers after the senator shared similar experiences and positions on the need for Lagos State in particular and federal government to urgently embark on steps to protect Igbo lives and businesses in the course of exercising their jurisdictional responsibilities.
Igbos are people who obey laws. Igbos are not new in Lagos. Why is it that it is just now they don't know they have to get approval for land? They don't know they have to register land. Igbos have had properties in Surulere, in Yaba, in Ikeja, in Apapa, in Bitora, and Iko. Why is it? It's just now. The truth is that it is not good to continue to blame them. The only thing is, if they have erred, the government has right. Government, in my own opinion, have got right anytime to take over any property for an overriding public interest. But government must pay compensation.
We must do the right things all the time. When we are born, our parents did the right thing all the time. No matter the status we think we have achieved, can we please make sure that we leave anything that's unholy and do the right thing?
The conferment of awards part of this event was a recognition of some of the most accomplished Nigerian citizens from across all walks of life.
Sir, I want to thank you for giving Nigerians Rufai Oseni.
Chairman and editor-in-chief of Arise and This Day Media Group, Prince Nduka Obaibena, was recognized for his unparalleled contribution to the growth and development of the Nigerian media industry. In accepting the honor from Ikenga, Prince Obaibena sued for greater understanding of the issues at hand and pleaded for national interests to supersede every other sentiment, a view that was shared by a former governor of Anambra State, Senator Chris Ngige.
I must say that it's a humbling experience to be in your presence today. I salute our friend, brother, father, and compatriot, Chief Iwanyahu, with whom we had many political battles. I salute the former Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Alison Madwike, whose own assistant, Dele Izobade, became Chief of Naval Staff. You trained him well. It's a privilege to be among titans of enterprise, and I urge you all to continue to work for Nigeria, and that together we can make Nigeria better.
There is no ethnic group that don't have some dissenting voices. Igbos are not different. We are a very distinct group. In fact, the politics and the navigation of Igbos in Nigerian politics, if you ask me, I'll tell you it's predictable. They don't live their own. So what that means is that for anybody to wave off the Igbos and say, we can do it without them, it's not a good politics. So for a good mix, I'm a politician, I'm a practical politician, I'm a strategic politician with major step. Give this people.
In the end, this celebration of tribal affinity expanded into a conversation around some of the major issues disturbing the peace of the entire nation at this time. Charles Ohauku, Arise News, Lagos.
That was a real feel-good event, even though every serious matter concerning the Igbos of Southeast Nigeria came into play at the end. Which reminds us that just on Thursday this week, a bill to establish a Southeast Development Commission was passed on the floor of the House of Representatives. And once it comes on, is envisaged to cater to the infrastructural and other developmental needs of people in that region of Nigeria. For a geopolitical zone where tempers have been fraying for a fairly long time over perceived neglect from successive governments at the center, this development is expected to represent a ray of light at the end of the tunnel. But the question is, how far can this commission go to address those regional concerns? For answers, we now turn to our first guest, Dr. Chima Naji, a lawyer who is also principal counsel at Chima Naji & Co., corporate consultant, public analyst, and good governance advocate. So good to have you on the morning show, Dr. Naji, and compliments of the season to you.
Compliment of the season, Steve and Desuan.
Thank you.
Glad to be here, and good morning, Nigerians and viewers worldwide.
All right, Dr. Naji, thank you.
Merry Christmas in advance.
Indeed, thank you so much. All right, let's talk about the good news from the House of Representatives regarding the Southeast Development Commission bill that passed the third reading. This, as you know, is coming 53 years after the Nigerian Civil War. What are your thoughts about this landmark bill, and what are your expectations in terms of the kind of succor that it is meant to bring to the 5 states of the Southeast region? Are you eagerly looking forward, to kickstarting what this bill portends?
Well, my dear Steve, anytime, at any point in time, the child has been served its meal, the child perhaps will be grateful, even if he may have been subjected to serious pangs of hunger. This development ought to have happened soon after the war, because it was supposed to be part and parcel of the deal. And so long as it didn't happen, that long Nigeria had been groping in the dark. Because there are certain things that you do in life and they facilitate development. The most vibrant people of this country that have the velocity to develop all parts of this country, they are like vectors, are Igbos, because we are everywhere. Like, you go anywhere in this country, you must find an Igbo man. Don't talk about the globe now, because the globe is replete with Igbos of different professional backgrounds, doing well, not doing havoc to any system or economy they find themselves. So, if Nigeria has delayed the possibility of developing the area that should be breeding these sources and facilitators of development for this long, it is not difficult to understand why Nigeria has been moving like an elephant with a clay of feet. Okay? To the extent that it might come, even if it is so late, mark my word, it might come, because this is a developing story. Something may taste and smell like a bouillon cube, but it may not season food like one. I don't know whether you get my drift. I don't want to call any brand name, because I don't want a bill for them. The brand name of a bouillon cube. But bouillon cubes are known for seasoning food. The fact that a particular item is smelling or tasting like one does not necessarily mean that it will season the food. What is my drift here? That it has been passed or it got to third reading or whatever. It has not been harmonized. Let us see how it is harmonized to address the critical issues. And let us see its passage by the president assenting to the bill to make it law. And let us see, after making it law, how actions are put in motion to rapidly address and redress critical areas of deficiencies. And in so doing, exercise the spirit of underdevelopment that is ravaging this country in all spheres of its life, because there is inequity that is crying to high heavens for redress, immediate redress. And like it is said, if you hold your victim on ground, you are not likely to go and ease yourself. You will be there with him. And any goat that is lying on the floor is doing so on its own skin. So there is this Newton's third law, that action and reaction are equal and opposite. So whatever inequity that is meted to Igbos, advantageously or inadvertently, it bounces back on Nigeria, willy-nilly. So it is in the collective interest of Nigeria and Nigerians to develop Nigeria. And the case of the Southeast, the Igbos generally, not just even the Southeast, Induka Obegbana that is your chairman is an Igbo man. He's not in the Southeast. Ndudi Elumelu was on the floor the other day announcing that he's a proud Igbo man. He's not in the Southeast. The Igbo people, both in Southeast and in diaspora, they require an equitable treatment to address and redress the years of injustice meted out of sheer ignorance, because you cannot bite your finger and hope to use it to collect vegetable from the pot of soup. It doesn't happen.
Yes, sir.
So we look forward,
yes,
if they are ready now, to go forward. Because the Igbo man is like a bird. He never gets drowned, no matter the nature of the economy. We are facing it.
yes, sir. So this bill seeks to address some of the consequences of the civil war. Would you, and arguably one of these consequences is the current insecurity in the southeast and in the region, but also one of the things that have been highlighted is infrastructure. How would you want this bill to deal with some of those consequences? What are those consequences of the civil war that the southeast is still dealing with today?
To be very, very frank and straightforward, the insecurity that we are experiencing today in the southeast is largely contrived. It's like a Me Too kind of thing. That since the other regions are being ravaged, essentially by the misdeeds of some of their leadership, that southeast still enjoying some measure of peace should take a piece of the cake. If you look around the issues of insecurity in the southeast, most of them are not from the southeastern people. It is not surprising that somebody can come all the way from Maiduguri to come and kidnap somebody from Enugu, where the reverse never happens. No Igbo man can even come to southwest, which is very close, to begin to cause harm the way it is done by people coming from outside, even from outside the country, because they hide under one cloth of either religion or affinity of ethnic cleavage. So if the Southeast Development Commission comes on stream, as it ought to, in the interest of this country, nobody is begging for it, because we have lived for this long. 53 years is a very long time in the life of a person. Many people died at the age of 20, but people in the Southeast and Igbo people generally have survived the spirited effort to hold them down politically and economically. But they have been there, they are there. So, and they will always be there, because you don't kill a man who has a spirit of survivor, has developed the ability to accumulate and accommodate pains to the threshold that no other ethnic group can carry in this country. What I'm saying now is, if today is the day, may not be too late after all, we will cherish it. But some of the cases that are on ground, there's no road in the southeast, the entire southeast. Most of the roads you find are the ones put in place by individual efforts. Many Igbos have turned into local government of sort. They build their own roads, even if it is at a communal level. Communities build schools, pay school fees for their wards. They are never in any, even the so-called palliative that have been sharing, they have been sharing everywhere. Even when the ordinary, structurally, the Southeast is supposed to deserve it even far more than the Northeast, because we were there in the cold before the Harmattan. Nobody remembers them. But they trudge on because they have a communal life. The Onyaga and one-year spirit. Economic situations may have been impinging on it negatively somehow, but we have a spirit of never allow your neighbor to die of hunger. You don't leave your neighbors behind. That's why even today, World Bank is looking at the economic survival strategy of Igbos in the trade aspect of commercial aspect of life. We see it in Alaba, we see it everywhere, and people marvel how we create millionaires, genuine millionaires, people who trade and do mastering something for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, and their master will settle them, and they start without any internecine competition that is likely to destroy the two parties. It is a harmonious effort to bring people out of poverty, not the Buhari type of contraption. So the point is that the Igbos don't have roads. And these are responsibilities of government, both the state and federal. All trunk A roads are impassable. And whenever there is a drop of 2 cents on the road, internet carries it, CNN carries it, that Niger Bridge is being done as if it is being done by somebody's father's money. This is taxpayers' money, and the Igbos are at the forefront of paying money. Most Igbos are engaged. They don't beg. So even at a small level, they are taxed. Because everybody, one way or the other, is doing something. Because it's a disgrace in Igbo land to see an Igbo man carrying plate or pot, begging. Even in the neighborhood, you don't do that because of certain element of pride that have been ingrained in us in the process of growth as children. Ecological problems are rippling in the East. Everybody knows how ecology of the East is. It's in the news every day. But it is news, and that is news. If it is the wish of government now and the people involved, to address and redress some of these problems with money that we have been contributing by way of our own corporate activities. All well and good. Otherwise, continue. Let us continue that way. Because one day somebody will address these things to the discomfiture of those who fail to do so. I believe that even some of the movements that are happening now will be an affront to the last government. The federal government, I mean. The leadership of the last federal government was very derisive and denigrating to Igbos. But today, we are making some little progress. But it is in our collective interest to have this progress manifested beyond agitations. So, social benefits. When you talk about social benefits, Igbos are not looking for you to come and give handouts. They are not. If there are any institution, critical institution of state, that will benefit everybody, because anything you drop in any soil in Igbo land is a multiplier. Look at the railway, how Igbos were excluded. The Port Harcourt, Meduguri, and all those things, none of them is functioning. At this point in time, the federal government would have been running to the World Bank, not even Central Bank, to deposit money, literally speaking, because of the liquidity that normally comes from the movement. It's just like the Chinese movement, you know, in their New Year. Their trains, they carry people in billions. So Igbo land from Meduguri to Enugu to Onitsha, Port Harcourt to Lagos, and so on, in every week would have been raking in trillions of naira. And we ignore that to our own discomfiture because we think that we are harming the Igbos. Nobody is harming the Igbos. As bad as the road has been, the Igbos have been paying the highest level of transport cost. Fares, 1 hour flight this December, 260-something thousand one way. It's almost like you're adding small money, you are in London. So you don't do that, close your eyes, and you say that it doesn't concern you. You don't cut your nose just to spite your face. Don't do that. So we need the federal government presence effectively at individual level. Appointment of minister, appointment of people to position, it means absolutely nothing. Only very few people in politics that continue to agitate that we don't have the percentage. We don't have the percentage. Because those whom we had before, of what benefit? And I don't think it is different in many other states. So what we are talking about is collective, spirited effort to develop, so that the multiplier of that development will, because development is a multiplier, it continues to create further development. You don't just give appointment to somebody who will either embezzle money in the way things are done. We have seen even auditors and ordinary accountants making away with more than 90-something billion naira that they will never need throughout their lifetime. And in trying to hide it, Nigeria will lose it because they have gone to stash it in a foreign account, where a perfection have been given to Tifri. So there are a lot of things in the Southeast that needs to be addressed structurally. Yeah. And if that is done, the multiplier for development nationally would have been put in place.
All right, Dr. Naji, I appreciate why you are pleading for caution, given the fact that the bill is yet to be harmonized at the Senate. But a lot of people have high hopes that it will be, given the fact that just in 2017, the Northeast Development Commission, which, whose agitation came much more after that of the Southeast Development Commission, was passed in 2017. So people have high hopes that the needful will be done. But my question to you, first, just two quick ones. First will be that, what lessons do you think that this commission, when it finally comes on stream, should learn from the NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission, which over the years, in spite of the huge monetary allocation there, has encountered different forms of, agitations, corruption, interferences from various quarters. And then what lessons can also be learned from the retired Major General Tafa-led Northeast Development Commission? How will you advise that when it comes on stream, this is how they should proceed so that they do not make the same mistake that the NDDC made? And then secondly, because of time, I would like you to touch on why is there so much anger on the part of many people from the Southeast? The video clip that we played earlier, where Senator Yinaya Baribe spoke about the fact that Nigeria should not think it's progressing by suppressing the Igbos. You use a similar language, in terms of suppression. Do you think that the Igbos are still being suppressed? And why? Is it not something of a paradox that a people so enterprising will now be asking for federal intervention when they will have shown the world that, hey, we really don't need you that much. Our enterprise, our sense of duty can get the southeast part of Nigeria to become the next Dubai, for example. Why is federal intervention so important?
Thank you very much, Steve, for that stimulating question. First and foremost, it is very consistent with the thesis I'm putting out here that we were already in the cold as a people before the Harmattan. And you said from your comment that the Northeast Development Commission was passed, even though the Southeast one had been on the burner. Now, I keep it there, but you can see that the only way a man who has 3 or 4 children can make progress is to put his money in the child that has shown greater promise in his academics, so that that one will justify the money put in him by graduating fast and perhaps assisting the family to bring the other ones up. Everybody does not have learning capacity, the same learning capacity. Some are slow learners, some are fast learners. Now, it is only the child that is ready to eat that the mother gives breast milk. If the child continues to close its mouth and continue to cry, endlessly would you continue to force the child. And the consequence, ultimately, is that the child might die of malnutrition. The case of Nigeria is that we are putting monies where there will be no multiplier whatsoever. The money continues to sink. And even in your domestic planning, if you continue to put money in things that are consumptive, that do not produce, if your money does not come from external sources to replenish, you continue to go down in the same proportion. If you are not visionary, you will not see it until you begin to feel it. And that's why Nigeria today is groping in the dark. If you put the Southeast Development Commission today, I can assure you that all the forces of development will be concerted in the Southeast, blossom it, and radiate manifestly to all corners of the earth, starting from Nigeria. In fact, let me tell you the honest truth, Steve. If this SEDC becomes a reality, even in law, the people of Southeast are capable of bringing their own money to have a focus, because what is happening now is that many forces, political forces, are working in tandem, even if they were not in agreement to do so. But they now have a common purpose to hold down the Southeast for political fear, the fear of politics. But that is completely a misplaced fear. It is a phobia, fear that does not get any justification from any sensible source. So there is suppression, there is oppression, there is, let me get the other word now. Anyway, the important thing is that the issue we are addressing is beyond what happened yesterday.